Hey, how we doing? This is Act Like a Grandmaster talking. Name's David, and I got a request to do a tutorial on how to play chess. I wasn't really sure if I was going to do one of these because there are quite a few chess tutorials out there, but I got a request from it, so yeah, my channel will have it all. So, um, I'm just gonna do it like as if I was teaching someone over the board. So, pretty clear cut. Basically, the game's chess. You have an army. Your opponent has an army of equal strength, and you each take turns trying to get the best of each other until one of you obliterates the other. It's an army versus army. That's it. That's it. Each one of your pieces has a unique worth, a unique ability, and it's about uh, knowing how to put your knowing what your pieces do and how to put them on the best squares to be the most active. It's like basketball. There are point guards. There are shoot the ones next to the hoop. They're getting the rebounds. There's the middle guy. Wow, I'm forgetting all the names of the positions, but they each have their. Each player has better ability, certain abilities than others, and you try to play upon their strengths. Pawns, and it's funny because like pawns are like the least value in the game. Every other piece is compared to the value of a pawn. So like for instance, a knight is worth 3 pawns. So if if you let's see, if I just do some moves and you do that. So like it basically every time you move, you're attacking a square. Um, so like for instance, if you take this, you got a pawn and your opponent got a knight. So since a pawn is worth 1 pawn and a knight is worth 3 pawns, your opponent is up 2 pawns. Now that's not most games. That's how you keep score, right? You keep score that way. But at the end of the day, it's like football. It's about the touchdown. It doesn't matter how many players are tackling the other players and who's winning that battle. If you throw the football long and someone catches it, doesn't matter if there's 5 guys on you, or girls. If you touchdown is a touchdown. So in this game, the touchdown is checkmating the king. This guy's the king. They want the crown. They want that little thing up top. You could lose all your pieces, but if you checkmate the king, that's what matters. How do you do that? Well, this is why I like simplifying the position. So let me just go to analysis. Okay, I'm just going to clear the board. The king is probably in a way, the easiest piece to understand because it moves kind of normal. You can move to any square on the board. You can move here, 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 here. You move a piece, you pick it up, you move it. You move it over here, you move it over there, you move it over here, move it over here. It's really wonderful that way. Now, queen is usually the most valuable piece on the board because it's the most maneuverable. See, a king can only move 1 square at a time, but a queen can move any square. It can move all the way here in one move. It can move from d8 to d1 in one move. It can also move diagonally. It can move here, here, anywheres in one move. Left to right, it could move here and then here, and it's just very maneuverable. It does have to move in a straight line. It can't go like this or anything like that in one move. So that's the queen. The rooks are kind of similar to the queen in that they move. They move long distances, but they cannot move diagonally. They can't move diagonally. That's a no. That's no good. Doesn't work that way. But since they can't move diagonally, the next piece I'm going to show you is the bishop. See, the bishop can move diagonally. It can do just like the queen, You can move all the way down, all the way up, here, this, whoops, this, that. But unlike the rook, it can't move horizontally or vertically. It can only move diagonal. So basically, if you add a rook and bishop together, they kind of equal a queen as far as they can, the queen can do both. The rook and the bishop can only do half of what the queen can do. But just because they can do half of the queen doesn't mean they're worth half a queen. The queen is worth 9 pawns, roughly. That's the general value of the queen. The rook is worth about 5 pawns. So if you're keeping score, that is what a rook is worth. A bishop is worth about 3 pawns. Now these values vary depending on how well they're positioned in the game. If you have a bad piece and it's not in the game, sometimes it matters will be worth nothing if it's not participating. Now another piece that we have here is the knight. The knight is, in my opinion, the strangest piece there on the board. But I think a knight of like a horse, and I think of a horse as able to jump. So that's how I feel about it. Knights can actually, they don't move up, down, or diagonally. They move in an L shape. They basically jump over a square. Like this knight here can move can move to this square, that square, this square, this square, this square, this square, this square, and this square. It's weird because it can jump over and move like that. That's probably the strangest piece to learn, because it's little things like this that make chess a weird game. Because most of the time, if you look at chess, the way you think about chess of conquering your opponent, it's kind of sort of simple, but there's like 2 or 3 things in there that just, it makes it complex. Because really, let's see, okay, this is the startup of chess. And the knights are the only pieces besides the pawns that can actually move on the first move, because they can literally jump over these pieces. They can go right there. This knight can go here or here on the first move. Oops. This knight can go to either of these 2 squares. And the same with black pieces. This knight can go here. It can go here. It literally jumps over these pieces, but it can't go here. It can't jump over. For some reason, knights, they can jump like an L, which I think is weird, but they can't jump ahead. I don't know why. I don't know why, but they can't. But the queen can't move. I mean, because there's a pawn in front of it. There has to be an open, an open space. So pawns are the last piece that I'll show you how it works. Pawns are interesting. They seem terrible because they move so slowly, but it's more of like I don't know. Pawns are like the shields, I think. They can also attack. To me, pawns, I imagine like a wall you push in front of your opponent, and then you have spears behind it to throw. It's like, I'm going to show a clip. It's like the movie with the Trojan War. There's a movie made on it. Hercules. Hercules is in it. Hercules is. And anyway, when it's like Troy versus Sparta, and when they get off the beach, he forms his team. There's like 50 of his guys, and they have shields in front of them, and they're like pushing close to the enemy. And then as they're getting closer, sometimes they throw spears, like they open the shield a little bit and throw spears. This is what I feel. You move the pawns up, and it kind of gives you space so you can develop your pieces, in which hopefully later on you can find good spots for your pieces up here to attack. So that's really what I think the pawns are for. Now a pawn. Let's see, refresh. So a pawn can, for the most part, can only move forward. Now every chess game setup starts like this. And the reason why that's important is because for some reason pawns normally can only move one square at a time. That. But when they're on their original space, you can actually choose to either move one square or two squares. So on this move, this pawn can go here, and this pawn can go here. Now if you go, you can do that. Now, also weird thing about pawns is they don't, like, this pawn can't. Okay. No. The thing is, I have this on analyze. So let me just load. Let me just new, and then let me just load. All right. So now I can't do weird things because okay. So again, pawns can move one square or two squares. Now after that first move, they can only move one square after. Like after this, you can't move two squares now. You can only move one. Now a weird rule, another weird thing about pawns, they have weird abilities, I must say, is in this one's going to take you a little bit of practice. A lot of them will, but this is a tricky one. This is one of the weird, like you could play chess like when you're younger a lot, and then all of a sudden play against someone who knows how, and you're thinking they cheated or something. But say I did this pawn move right here. There's a rule called en passant. I don't know what that means, something about passing, but basically what it means is when your pawn is here and this pawn moves two squares, you can just take here as if he'd only moved one square, and then you can take back like that. So if I go boom, now if I go here and then he goes here and then I move up, he can't take like that, and then I can't take like that. My pawn, it has to be like, my pawn is here, he moves two on that very next move. Now on the very next move I can choose to do that. I can choose to take. Now if I wait a turn, then I no longer can. So let me show that. So I'm here, black moves here. If I don't take right now, let's say I do this move, and then he goes here, I no longer can take the pawn. Why? That's the rule. That's it. But again, normally pawns just take like that. They have to be diagonal. Let me just boom, boom, take. So again, pawns from here can move one square or two squares, or two squares. They can move one or two. They take diagonally. That's how they take. So every time you move this pawn, it's attacking this square and this square. Because if something was there, it could take it. Now if nothing's there, I can't jump that way. I can't go that way. If a pawn goes like that, I can't take that. It's weird. To me, it's like, I don't know, it's like his head is a shield, and he's got like these two swords that are like pointing in both directions. It's like, in this one too. Yeah, I take you. And then there's like, if you go like this, and then you go here, it's like saying, you thought you could go by me. Nope. That's the way I see it. Again, so pawns move like that. Oh, wow, I don't know what's going on, but it's cool. Okay, and again, knights move in an L shape. Just reviewing. So I can go like that, like that. It just moves in an L. Any L. I mean any. Basically, one square over, two squares up, or two squares over, one square up, or two squares up and one square over, or one square down, in this L shape. Bishops can move diagonally. Now this bishop can't move anywhere right now because it is blocked by the pawns. The knight is the only piece that can jump over pieces. You don't need to move the pawn in order. You don't need to move this pawn in order to jump over it. Now it can't go there. You can't capture your own pieces. You can't. The computer just won't let you do it. It won't let you do it. Self-sacrifice won't let you do it. Or friendly fire just won't let you do it. See, even the queen. The king should be able to, right? It's the king, but nope. Not able to. This one can't do it either. So again, knights jump over. So in order to get that bishop going, you gotta move the pawn. Now next move, the bishop can go this way. Goes like that. This bishop can go in one move. This bishop you can go to either. So this square, this square, this square, this square, this square. Now if you notice on this board, there are letters at the bottom of the board, and there are numbers on the side of the board. This makes it easier for notation to know where you are. So, like I wanted to say, this bishop can go to E1, E2, D3, C4, B5, or A6. Basically, this board is an 8x8 board. There's 8 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And 8 columns. And the columns are column A, column B, column C, column D, column E, column F, column G, column H. If you flip the board, so if you have the black pieces, the numbers don't change. It's not, this isn't the first square anymore. This is column H. This square that the rook is on is H8. Because in this corner, this is A1. There's only 8 columns. There's only 8 by 8. So let's see. So yeah. So again, pawns can move 2 space or 1 space, but only from its original square. So let's say white plays pawn E2 to pawn E4. I could play a lot of moves, but I can play pawn E7 to E5. If he wants to bring out his knight, this knight can either go to H3 or F3, or it can even go to E2. Let's say it goes to F3. Now this knight, even though it's not on these squares, it's still attacking these squares. This knight is attacking this square, which has nothing on it, and it is attacking this square, which has a pawn on it. Now, if I let him take it for nothing, he'll be up a pawn. And it's like, to me, it's like in any game, basketball or hockey. It's like a penalty when a guy goes in the penalty box, and now your team's down a man. You don't want that. If it was 5-on-5 before, now it's 5-on-4. Well, the team with 5 with an extra man is probably going to win. Basketball game, If I don't know why this would ever happen, but you don't want to lose a man when you're fighting someone and there's like 5 is a gang, 5 of you and 5 of them. At least it's an even match. If all of a sudden one of you guys runs away, okay, you might make it, but you're probably going to lose in a straight up fight. That's what it's about. You know, losing a pawn isn't the end of the world, but theoretically, if you're down one pawn, that means your opponent has a bigger army than you and should beat you. If you both play perfectly, or even not, at the end of the day, your opponent should be up one pawn, and a pawn is enough to win the game. So the object of the game is to checkmate the king. How you do it, you can either sacrifice a bunch of stuff and go right for the throat, or you can, you know, you can basically try to, build up, basically fight army versus army and try to position better to win material. And then if you're up, in winning material I mean winning pieces. If you win pieces, like for instance, again, if I go like that, I don't know, and okay, say white takes and I take. Okay, so white got a pawn. White won a pawn. I won a knight. So I'm mathematically up 2 pawns. So mathematically I'm up 2 guys, 2 or girls, 2 fighters. So that's a huge advantage. 1 pawn's a huge advantage. Because that means, at the very least, you shan't lose. So, alright. Okay. I know this is kind of going through the stuff quick, and, yeah, okay. So, alright. So, this all seems kind of rushed because I'm doing this in one video, but, that's why I'm trying to repeat myself in some things, so you see it again. Okay, now there is another special move that you gotta at least know about. It's called castling. Okay, so let me just, try to make this. Let me set the board up. Try to make this clear. Let me take the pieces off. Okay. A minute. Let me actually. No, let's not. Okay. Oh my god, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. Set up. Load. Let me get the white side back. Okay. So I'm gonna move some pieces. Okay, again. So let's keep going over what we know. Pawns can move 1 square or 2 squares. This first move, I'm just going to move 1 square. Let's say black does a similar move. Okay, I'm going to develop my knight. I'm attacking the pawn. So let's say black defends it. And what I mean defend is if I take and he takes, he is up more attackers, more pieces than I am. So he should win the game with correct play. So I will not take, but I will keep pressure on him. This is applying pressure because if this guy ever moves away, I can take this pawn for free. So I will keep developing. So I'm attacking this pawn, he's defending this pawn. So I'm going to try to remove this defender. So I'm going to bring my bishop out. Again, bishops move diagonally, and it can move all the way any one of these squares. So I'm going to move it here because bishops attack diagonally. And if next move I have a chance, I will, if say black plays pawn to a6, again bishop, see the pawn moved only 1 square ahead this time, but it's attacking this bishop because pawns attack diagonally. Now I could either take this pawn and he could take back. Now the difference is, the problem though is I'm down material now. A bishop is worth about 3 pawns, the same as a knight. So by taking this pawn and then he captured with his pawn, I won a pawn but he won a bishop. So basically it means he's up 2 pawns. So I don't want to do that. I could move away, like here, but I want to take this knight. So a bishop's worth 3, a knight's worth 3, so roughly it's an equal trade. So I take, so he takes, now whoa, this pawn is no longer defended, right? So I'm going to take this. So right now, white is up 1 pawn. Now there's more to it than that. There are tactics. So let's, okay, so I'm going to move the queen, see, move the queen to e7. See, the queen, since the queen can move pretty much anywhere as it wants as long as there's space. So for instance, this queen is attacking. These pieces, a lot of these long-range pieces, it's like they're snipers. It's like they're on a building somewheres and they have this like long-range rifle and they're just eyeing these, and the queen is like Rambo, you know. So this queen basically has a sniper rifle aiming along this line, and all the way here, all the one more than that, all the way down here. But in order to shoot this guy or girl, you got to get through these pieces. So right now, though, he is directly attacking this knight. If I don't do anything, he's going to take it, and he'll be up about 2 pawns. So, attacking the knight. So let's just say I move it. I don't want to lose a knight. I could defend it. Alright, let's say I defend it. Okay, so now he could take, but this pawn would take the queen. The queen is worth about 9 pawns. So if we do the math, well, a knight is worth about 3, so that exchange put white up about 6 pawns. You know, if you're in a fight or whatever and you had 6 extra people, I think you're going to win. Most likely. Alright, so let's see. So let's say he attacks. Generally, the higher the value of the piece, you want to attack it with lower value pieces. Like you could attack it with a pawn. So let's say you move this pawn up 1. Now you're attacking this knight. You're attacking this knight. And next move you would take with the pawn. You actually have 2 attackers on this square, the pawn and the queen. They're both attacking. This knight only has 1 defender, this pawn. So next move you would take it and you'd win. So, alright. So, the knight looks like it has to move. You could go here, 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 a bunch of different places. Just for the sake, let's capture this pawn. Alright. So the knight just won a pawn. And it's attacking the queen. The queen doesn't move. The next turn the knight should definitely take this queen because it's worth a lot more. It's worth a lot more. But the queen has a good move. Has a very good move. It's going to take this pawn. Now, not only did it win a pawn, but it did something special. It put this king in what's called check. So basically, there's a direct attack on the king. And there's also a direct attack on this knight and a direct attack on this pawn. But if you lose the king, it's the end of the game. That's just it. It's the end of the game. So, who cares about this knight? Who cares about this pawn? I mean, I do, but these guys don't. The game only cares about this king right now. You have to protect the king. So if I try to, if I say, you know what, I like my knight better than my king, it doesn't work. You have to defend your king. Now you can either block it with a piece. Right now the only piece you could block with would be this queen, or you can move it away. You could move it here, over here. Alright, so let's say I block it. Alright, Alright, so I blocked it. Now let's say, the queen could trade, and then I take, but it would just be a queen for a queen. So let's say, hey, a knight. Let's take a knight. Oh, I can't. You know why? Because if you can't move a king into check. You can't. So if this queen moves, we would take the king, and that'd be game over. So you are not allowed to. So this queen is pinned to the king. It's pinned to the king because it can't move out of the way. It can't. Just can't. So the best move seems to be queen takes queen, and then king takes. Alright. But let's go back because there was something else I wanted to do. So, alright, let's say for some reason, whatever, we don't care if he takes the knight. Okay, say we care about not getting checkmated or something like that. Okay, so a special move that occurs between the king and the rook is there's a move called castling. Basically, it allows in this position to basically switch places of the rook, kind of. Basically, you can move, there's a special move called castling where in one turn you can do this. See what just happened? You put the king on G1 and then automatically your rook jumps over to F1. Now if you go F1, alright, your king's just here. And you take, and you can no longer castle. You can't castle. You can only move, if you say you go back here, move the king back, you can no longer castle. Can't do it. You have to do it right off. As soon as the rook moves or the king moves, even if you go back to this position, you lose the right to castle. So if you go like this, he moves and you move back, you can't castle. Can't castle. Because you lost the right to castle. Castling is a great move to get your king out of the line of fire. It's usually a lot more safe on the side of the board. Now this time the king castled on the king side, so it's called kingside castling. You can also castle on the queen side. So I'll show you. So let's say black goes bishop here, and let's say I just move my knight here. Now this king has the option to castle queen side. This is queen side because the queen starts on this square. So this is the side of the queen, this is the side of the king. So in one move, it's a similar move, it's slightly different. Instead of moving one square and jumping over it, it'll move here and it'll go like that. So you put the square 2 squares over, and the rook just jumps over to the D square, to the D8 square. That's castling. But again, if you like that, and I move, I'm trying to move, can't castle right now. You know why? Because there has to be a clear space between the king and the rook. There has to be a clean space. That's why I had to move the bishop. I had to move the bishop out first. Can't castle. Can't castle. You can move here, and the rook can move there, but you can't castle. You have to move all the pieces out of the way first, and then you can castle. It's a really cool move. Now, again, there are rules. I know there are rules. Rules. Alright, so say, let me just move this here. Say I get this bishop here. Alright, so it's white's turn. Let's say I castle. So I try. Let's try. What? No, I can't. You know why? Because this bishop attacks here. And it's like this guy's firing down on you, and if you went through, you'd get shot. You know, it's just, that's what would happen. You're you know, or if this was okay, let's not say shot. Let's say this is laser tag. This laser tag. You would get lasered. So you can't do it. Now you could block, so you no longer... This is defending, so do that. Now you can castle, because it can't attack through the pawn. It has to, you know, the pawn shields you. So you can shield through with another piece. So like, let's say I do this. Let's say I go here. Can't castle, because this knight attacks this square and this square. Can't do it. Now you could simply just take the knight, and then now you can castle. And again, let's say I go here, and black goes like that. What's that special move we can do? I don't really care if you remember the name of it. En passant is what it's called, but as long as you know, you do have the option to go like that. Now if you wait a move and you do that, and then you go there, now you can't. Now another important thing is pawns can't move backwards. Pawns cannot move backwards. They can't. A queen can move. A queen can't. Like this rook can move up. This bishop can move, and then it can move backwards and go back. Move sideways. Do that. Queens can too. It's amazing. It's great. But pawns can't. Knights can go like this and like that, and then back. So if you make a mistake with a knight or any piece, you can maybe put it back and try something else. But pawns can only move forward. If you made a mistake, can't bring it back. Alright. The way I see the beginning of a chess game is basically you set up. To me, this is the bench. This is the bench. Go to a basketball, football game, and the players on the bench. You want to get them into the game. They're doing no good here. This is kind of like dodgeball to me. You know, you remember dodgeball or whatever? At the beginning, they have the balls in the middle, and you run forward to gain. Whoever runs fastest and get the balls, they have an advantage, right? If there's like 8 balls up here, your team gets 5, the other team gets 3. You got a significant advantage. You got an extra 2. So basically, this is territory. You want to try to gain territory. These 4 squares in the middle are the most important. This is kind of like, you know, king of the hill. You know, this is like king of the hill. Like if you're like a snow mountain, you know, like king of the hill. Who can get here first? Who can claim it? And then you have the high ground. If you claim it and you control it, you now have the high ground, and you can place your pieces in optimal squares to just basically shoot down, to laser down on your opponent. So usually most people play moves that control the center. So like usually a good move is a pawn forward 2 squares, because it controls one of first it kind of controls 2 squares because it's on here, so it directly controls this square because it's on it. It also indirectly controls this square because it's attacking it. So to me, there's 2 kinds of ways of controlling something: by actually being on the square, and by applying pressure or attacking the square. By doing this move, another reason why this is a great move is because this automatically activates this bishop. Now, it does not directly, well, maybe it does, but it doesn't, like, it's on this square. It controls this square. Or it's on this square. But it has some control over all these squares. The queen does too, on these squares. This knight automatically doesn't have to do anything. It controls this square, and this square, and this one, and this one. Alright. Alright, so alright. Alright, I'm going to play a game. There's a lot to... Okay, we've covered a lot, and I think it's better to play actual game to kind of enforce how it all works. Alright, so I'm just going to play against a computer on here. Let's give myself... Okay, I'm just going to start on difficulty 1. Okay, I got white. White always goes first, by the way. White always goes first. And the way the board is set up... okay, queen is a queen, and, queens are fussy. They always have to have their color square. So that's how you know how to set up the board, if it's set up correctly. First of all, the white rook always has the white corner square on the right. And the queen always gets her color. There's a white queen, so she gets the white square. And it's a mirror. So black is identically mirrored. So the queen doesn't go here, the queen goes here. So this is the way it is. So I'm going to make a move. See, he only moved 2. I'm going to move again. And I'm going to develop my bishop. Now this is check, because I'm checking the king. He decided to move out of the way, which is fine. I'm going to check again. Now I'm not saying these are good moves. So I checked this time, he blocked with his knight. Now I'm going to try to attack the defender. Alright, so this pawn is attacking this pawn and this knight. This pawn is worth 1 pawn, this knight is worth 3, so it's a good idea to trade. So I'm going to take that, and he took with his knight. Alright, so let's just... I'm going to develop my... I really don't have a plan. I'm going to develop my knight so I can castle next. Let's go with that. Sure. So there, he moved his rook. Why? Because it's a low-rated computer. So now I'm going to castle. So to castle, the rule is there has to be a clear line between your king and your rook. There can't be anything in between, and neither of these pieces can't have moved the entire game yet. If I had moved this king here and then moved it back, I can't castle. If I had moved this rook and then moved it back, can't castle. Can't do it. And there are no pieces that are attacking through. So if I castle, my king won't get hit by a stray laser or a stray bullet. It won't happen. So I'm going to castle. Alright. He moved his pawn 2. Which wasn't a great move, but that's okay. So I'm going to move my rook. Rooks can move left and right. Okay, so I'm going to push this pawn, attacking this pawn. Now, this pawn cannot take this pawn, because if it does, it will open the line up for my rook. My rook attacks down this line. Since rooks are good on open files, these are files. Files A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H. If you notice, this file does not have a white pawn on it. This makes it an open file. Rooks are good on open files because they move up and sideways. Bishops do not. So bishops are good on diagonals. So like if a bishop was over here, if I move that and a bishop was there, that would be a good diagonal. But rooks are good on open files. Knights are a little tricky. They're good when they're close to the center of the board. I'm going to take that because I'm being attacked. He did not take back, which is fine with me. I'm going to take... Again, it's not a very good computer, so it's just, moving and whatever. I'm going to take... so I took the knight and attacked the king. It was in check, so it had to do something. It can't move anything else until the king is no longer in check. So what did he do? He took with the pawn. He took with the pawn. It's no longer in check. The game can keep going. Alright. And the reason why I'm doing this also is because I have not yet showed you how to checkmate yet. And I just remembered that I should do that. So, basically a checkmate is when a king is in check and which means it's being attacked by an enemy's piece, and it can't get out of it. It can't get out of it. It can't move out of the way. Nothing can come in to save it. It can't take the piece. It's immovable, and it's in check. It's attacked. Someone's got the red line on through the red laser from their sniper rifle on it, and it can't get out of the way, and nothing can jump in front of it to block it. That's checkmate, and that's what we want to try to achieve. I'm going to move my knight here. See, right now I'm attacking this square, and I was attacking this square to attack this king, and it could have been checkmate, but he made a saving move. He moved his queen here. This queen, again, attacks many different squares, but more importantly, it attacks this square right here. So if I would put my knight there, he would just take it for free. You don't quite want to do that. Let's see. Okay, so this is a little tactic, and he may fall for it, maybe not. I don't know if it's a he, it's a computer, so I don't know. Let's make a dumb move. Oh, whatever. So if I take this, I can take this, and it looks like a bad move because he can take with his pawn and he'd be up. But if you count, if you do the math, if I take this pawn, I'm up 1. If he takes back, he's up a bishop, so he's technically up 2. But then I take this pawn with my knight, and yes, he's still up 1 mathematically if you do the math. But I am now, his king is in check, and I'm attacking his queen. It's called a fork. And the point is, the queen's worth 9, so it would be great to win that, but he can't move out of the way because his king is in check. So hopefully whoops, that's not what I meant to do. Okay, that was a blunder. I didn't mean to do that. Okay, and I don't think I can take that back because I did it. Oh, I can. Yay! Alright, so it didn't fall for it. It didn't fall for it. So what should I do? Well, my knight is under attack. This is also a fork, actually. Where the queen just moved, a fork means you're attacking more than one piece at the same time. So with the same piece. So this queen is attacking this knight and this bishop. Now, yes, you could also say that this queen is attacking here, but so it is. But it's defended also, but this is defending the knight as well. So, but my bishop is being attacked by this pawn, so I either want to move it or save it or something. So, let's just, let's see. I think I'm going to move here. That way this defends this square, and I can decide whether I want to check again. Oops. Alright. So he's eyeing this pawn, and I don't really want him to take it. So, what's a good move? Let's see. Let's just check, see what happens. I'm checking the king, and that was a bad move because he tucked, but that's okay. Do I have a follow-up move? Alright, let's try this. Let's go queen here. Now there's a lot of pieces in the attack, so let's see, what should I do next? Well, I can take that pawn with check, so let's do it. And he moved up. Do I have any other follow-ups? Check. Alright, I'm not really calculating here. I'm just gonna check the king again, see what happens. He went there. Do I have anything else? I could take that rook for free. See, I'm looking because, okay, ooh, free rook sounds good, but the name of the game, well, the name of the game is chess, but you're not trying to win material, you're trying to win the king. And I don't, let's see, But let's just take the rook, because I don't see... Alright, that does not look like a good move. So this bishop is attacking here, and the queen is as well. So let's do that. And where's the checkmate? Come on. We need a checkmate. Let's see. Let's just check him again. Alright, let's just... Now, if I'm not careful, I just noticed, he could checkmate me. So, just for the fun of it, I'm going to let him. I'm going to let him checkmate me. I'm so close to winning, but just to be a good sport. And it's a level 1, maybe we won't find it. I'm just going to move. Do you see how black can checkmate me if I'm not careful? Do you see it? I'll show you. See if he does it. He does it. Good job. Good job, computer level 1. You never get to win normally, right? Me and analyze. So here, queen has a direct attack on my rook. So took it. And this is what checkmate is. This is one way of checkmating. This is actually called a back rank mate. Basically, it is attacking my king, and I can't get out of it. Can move here, but it's still attacked. Can move to F square, but it's still attacked. The pawns can't get in the way. So this is the end of the game. It's the end of the game. Doesn't matter that I have all these. Doesn't matter. I have. If you go by the score of the pieces, I'm completely winning. I have a queen and a queen, a rook and a rook. 1, 2, 3 pieces. So I'm up about 6. Let's see. I'm up about 8 pawns worth. So you think that means I'm winning, but it doesn't matter. This king is worth like 100,000 pawns. So that's it. Alright, this video seemed to go on a while. And I probably could have done better, but I just what I mean is explaining how chess works. But I don't know. Part of me, I don't want to do another, I don't know, video like all the other ones out there. So I was asked to do a tutorial, and this is what I got so far. I do recommend watching this. Basically, there's this chess tournament that went on called PogChamps, and basically what they did was they got a bunch of different gamers and streamers who like almost never played chess before, and they got a little bit of teaching of how to play chess from like these different grandmasters, and then they got thrown in a tournament with each other. And I'm actually still watching right now, and it's really funny. It's hilarious. It's great. There are these players that have never some have played when they're a little bit, but most of them have never played chess before, and you guys should watch it because it's it's so fun. It's probably the funnest chess I've ever seen. The blunders, the mistakes, and it just shows me that anybody can play chess. Doesn't matter how bad you are. It can still be very fun. And I'm gonna put the link. Oops. Yeah, I'm gonna put the link then below, and just look. It's so fun. It's so great. It's great, and there's actually some good lessons, but it's pretty fun. And there's a lot of different like characters, different chess streamers, and you could imagine the different characters they got in there. And it's one of the best, funniest things I've ever seen. So I'm gonna put the link in the description below. Again, I think there are a lot of if you didn't get exactly what you're looking for out of this tutorial, just look up how to play chess. There's like 1,000 other people explaining the rules of chess and how to play, and they're a lot better than I am. I just don't have the patience. I've tried to do tutorials, and once you start in it, there's so much more involved in teaching someone how to play chess than just So I just showed you the moves. Now you can continue watching or play some chess on your own. I recommend chess.com. I don't get anything from them, nothing at all. I still have a free account, so I'm not even a subscriber. I probably will be at some point, but I'm good. They have. Oh, another reason we should do chess.com is because they have chess lessons. So, for instance, I already did like 4. Like it says, learn about the queen. I think I already did the one about how the pawn moves, how the king moves. So I'm just going to show you. So I don't think this will be copyrighted, but you never know. Okay. So the lesson is about the queen. So it shows how the queen works.
The king might be the most important piece in chess, but the queen is by far the most powerful.
Okay, see, there you go. So I recommend watch my chess video, and after that, either start playing or go to chess.com, get a free account, just need an email, and then take the lessons. There's so many things on chess.com, so many things. Even if you have the free, there's 4-player chess. I mean, there's so many different things. It's a lot of fun. I wasn't always on chess.com. I was on a different site for a long time, and they were great. But chess.com is so much better. So watch my video, get what you can get, and then the rest, go to chess.com, free user, and then just do the free lessons, do the lessons, and it'll show the things that I missed. And then there's practices to make sure you get it down. But if you don't want to do all that, I think my video is fine, and then it should be enough to, at least when you're watching a chess game, you can see. So I would look at mine and either go to chess.com or go watch PogChamps. I'm going to put the link. It's so funny. Just go and watch one of the tournament videos, or I can't explain. Just it's so these guys they're Twitch streamers, they're gamers, they're all these different, and some of them are sweethearts, some of them are just friggin' trash talkers, and some it's like when they hang their pieces or whatever, they go. It's so funny, the reactions from some of these people, and I think it's making the chess atmosphere a lot more entertaining than it was. So I'm going to put the link for that. I don't normally put any links on my videos, but for that I will, because I do recommend watching that. Watch my videos, but if you want to have a lot of fun, watch those. They're so funny. Yeah. So that's what I got so far. So let's leave it at that. This is a long